Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Welcome back to another stream. We have Wednesday morning, New York Open coming up. It is April 3rd, 2024. I am very excited to get on here again with you guys. Take a moment to say hi to the community and see how everybody is doing today before we get into any discussion. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good day, good evening, depending on where you're from. Glad to see all the familiar faces. Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing today? How's everybody's week going so far? We have non-farm payroll this week. Everybody should be aware of that. That is the first week of every month. Hello, hello. How is everybody doing this week? Hello. Hello, Dario. Hello from Bulgaria. Hello, Nick. Good morning, hello. Hello, James from Australia. Good morning from Nigeria. Good morning, good morning. Hello, Andrew from Uganda. How is everybody doing so far? I hope everybody's day is going well. Very excited to get another session in with you guys. Good morning, good day. Hello. Hello from Texas. Hello from Pakistan. Good morning. Hello from Nigeria. Hello from Vietnam. Hello, hello. Hello from Japan. What's up, Drew? Nice to see you. Hello from Nigeria and Portugal. Hello from Ethiopia. Hello from Maryland and Malaysia. Hello from Brooklyn and Vietnam. Good morning. Hello. How is everybody doing today? Hello from Nepal. Hello from North Carolina. Hello from Morocco and Colombia. Hope everybody's week is going well. Hello, hello, hello. Hello from Greece and Romania. Love to see all the familiar faces. I'm glad to get some more time with you guys. Just like always, we do our live streams on Wednesday mornings here on YouTube. We do New York Open for the indices. Hello, Anne. How are you doing today? Hello from Brazil. Hello from EU and Poland. Hello from Ukraine. Hello, hello. I hope everybody's week is going well. Very excited to get another opportunity to continue working and learning, continue sharpening our skills, gaining more experiences and perspectives. This way, with more experience comes conviction. The more times you see something happen, the easier you'll be able to identify it. So, the way you do that is gaining more experiences. Every time we show up to the market for a New York Open, that is the thing that builds the conviction. Does not matter how much time it takes you. Everybody is on their own path. Just focus on learning. Focus on relentlessly showing up to carry out your process every single day. It does not matter if it takes you 1 month. It does not matter if it takes you 1 year. It does not matter if it takes you 5 years. Your path is your path. The only thing that matters is that we get to where we want to be at whatever point in time that is. So, don't look to compare to anybody else. Just focus on learning every single day block out the noise and realize what matters. That is you gaining the experience. That is you putting the time in and working. That is you relentlessly looking to learn. Focus on those things so that we can get to where we want to be. Hello, hello. Love to see all the familiar faces. Hello from Portugal. Hello, hello, hello from Cape Town. How is everybody doing today? Hello, Yarrow. Guys, if you haven't already, Yarrow does a phenomenal job with psychology, emotional intelligence. You should absolutely check out his podcast. There is a ton of value in what he shares. A lot of insight is provided on his YouTube. I'm sorry, on his Twitter and his Spotify. I highly suggest you guys taking a look at that. Yarrow, I don't know if you'd like to link that in the chat for people to see, but there's a lot of value there. I think everybody should definitely take a look into that. Good morning from Uganda. Good morning from Canada. Hello from Minnesota. Hello, hello. So we are going to go over the positions on the screen and we are going to talk about them. I was just giving some time to say hello to the community and see how everybody's doing today. I spend a lot of time with you guys, so I want to make sure that this is not just education, that we are building a community of like-minded individuals that, you know, have some of the same values, that approach the market in a professional manner. We will go over this shortly. I'm going to wait to see if ES goes and runs the 2R before I begin explaining the reasoning and the logic behind it. So we'll give it a moment here before we go into explanation. As you can see, NQ already ran the 2R. Whether you did or didn't get a fill here, right, because it just barely doesn't hit the breaker block, which is here. Completely okay. We'll see what New York Open does, see if they continue the move here or if it changes. So after New York Open, we'll go into the explanation. I do need to take a screenshot of this real quick for the Discord because I have to update all of my information in the Discord. That real quick. All right, so I got the update in. Now, for anybody that's wondering, I'm going to focus here on the YouTube live stream. So if there's any questions or comments in the Discord or on Twitter, I'm not going to be able to get to them at this point in time. I want to focus on the live stream. James says he closed ES just before 2R due to New York Open very soon. That is a very logical response. It looks like if you took the short, you probably took some profit, so very good job. Something that we could talk about quick before we go into any explanations is being an independent thinker. Okay, so nobody is going to press the buttons for you. You will always have to press the buttons. this is always going to be a you versus you business. Okay, so being an independent thinker is very important. And when being an independent thinker, you have to always be thinking about what is best for yourself, right? So for a quick example, and James saying that he took profit here is what's bringing up the conversation, right? So in Discord, I had mentioned this short here after the news happened. Short gave multiple entry points here, right? And now depending on where your stop loss is, you might be close to 2R already or not. Now for the individual, it is best for you to be an independent thinker, knowing that, right, we're very close to 2R. We're also at New York Open. So knowing that there's volatility coming into the market because of New York Open, why not be that independent thinker and take your profits? Why not? There is no reason not to. You're always going to have to make the decisions for yourself. So whether you decide to hold for 2R, or if you sit there and say, I've made profit, I know New York Open is about to happen, I'm going to secure those profits. Neither one of those answers are incorrect. What is incorrect is waiting around for somebody else to tell you what is best for yourself. Understanding that you will have to be an independent thinker and make the decision for what is best for you is the best way forward. So if you were the individual that said, I'm taking my profit, you're probably pretty happy. Probably sitting green on the morning. And at that point in time, just stay green. Just stay green. Don't even try to get into other positions. Just call it a day and remain profitable. Just because some person only does 2R or minus 1R and it's a fixed return does not mean that you have to do that. Being an independent thinker is the best way forward. Here's another example of being an independent thinker. Some people might not be able to participate in New York Open because they're from Europe, because London Open works best for them, right? So looking at yourself and realizing what is best for yourself, again, is the best way forward. Just because I'm trading New York Open does not mean that you should be trading New York Open. If London Open fits your lifestyle better, then that's what I would focus on. So let's see what happens here with the breaker block. Then we'll go into analysis. See if them both up here on the screen. This one needs to be ES. There's potential for SMT here, right? Oh. Being careful of this as well. So personally for me, I only trade the New York Open. That is what works best for my life. As a beginner, I would say the same. You know, if you have a day job and you cannot trade New York Open, then look at London Open. Just stick to one session and move forward with that. Trying to trade multiple sessions a day is only going to be harder. Trying to complete one of the hardest businesses there are multiple times is only going to make it even harder. All right, so it's looking like the bearish breaker did its job here when we ran almost 2R, because now it's turning it into a bullish breaker. Let me outline it. All right, you can see the sweep here. Highest up closed candle before the leg down that took liquidity. If you haven't already, please do me a favor and like the stream. If you're wondering why you cannot communicate in chat, that's because you haven't subbed to the channel yet. Hit the sub button, hit the like button. We also have the Discord communities. If that is something that interests you, go to the description in the link of this video and you'll see the links to the Discord. All right, so New York Open, right? 9:30. Swept the lows. After sweeping the lows, we're getting displacement through the breaker block, waiting to see if the FVG is confirmed here, right? We need this candle to close. Waiting on candle closure, and while we do that, we'll go take a look at NQ as well. Q is lagging. Another minute until candle closure here, and then we will watch this breaker block. All right, so you got the confirmation of the FVG being aligned with the breaker block after the sweep of the lows at New York Open. So the position would look like this. Throw NQ up here again, see what that is doing. Looking like the weaker pair here. See what happens with this breaker block. We're going to focus on price action right now. After we focus on live price, we will get to questions and Q still shown to be the weaker pair. It still hasn't displaced through the breaker block. Well, I haven't outlined it there on NQ. So we'll watch ES for now. See if ES ever gives the entry, just patiently waiting. And take a sip of water as we wait. Give me 2 seconds. Looks like NQ is working on its displacement too. We'll see if it could get through the breaker block here. I'll outline it if it does, but I'm not going to put the concepts on the chart until it's confirmed. I do appreciate all of the questions and comments. Thank you everyone for being here. We are going to focus on live price before we go into any Q&A. We do have a 10 a.m. news driver coming up, so that red folder is an important time. Let's see, the news driver is PMI at 10 a.m. So we need to be aware of that red folder. Seeing if, so NQ got the sweep as well. Seeing if it could get the displacement through the breaker block. Notice how ES was clearly and decisively able to displace through it and left an FEG aligned with it as that happened. That's what we're waiting on for NQ. Why NQ looks like the weaker pair and needs the displacement. Just a time to be patient and wait. I wouldn't be surprised if they wait until 10 a.m. to make the move. We do know that red folders are our volatility injection. So it makes sense that we're not decisively moving towards the draw yet. Yes, does look like to be the stronger pair. So that is why that position's already on the screen. Let's see, how is everybody's week going so far? Put a 1 in the chat if you are green on the week. Put a 2 in the chat if you're red on the week. Seems pretty 50-50 so far. Got a couple zeros in there for flat. Could have put that option as well. We do have to realize that this is non-farm payroll week. With that being said, as ICT states, This is a tougher time to participate with price, especially if you are newer to the markets. But now here comes the real question for all the individuals that said you were green on the week. Will you be the individual that stays green on the week? Will you be that individual that accepts what they have completed and will protect those profits? Or will you be that individual that continues to push the button, that tries to reach for more, that thinks that what they have is not enough? Because I can guarantee you the difference in those answers is going to show in your P&L. You are the individual that's going to protect profits. That's going to be the individual that stays green. You are the individual that says, oh, I need more, that's not enough. Those are going to be the individuals that get burned. We do have to realize that this is one of the hardest businesses to run. And with that being said, trying to do one of the hardest things to complete more of the time is only going to make it even harder. Right? For example, to get 9 out of 10 trades correct, completing that objective is going to be easier than getting 90 out of 100 trades correct. Even though it's the same exact win percentage, one is going to be harder than the other because you have to do it more of the time. So, as I always state, you guys heard me say this time and time again, less is more. Quality over quantity. So for those individuals that are green, I'd suggest staying green. You don't need to press any more buttons. Be done. We got the red folder coming up in 5 minutes here. That may give us the liquidity injection we're looking for. NQ's trying to displace through the breaker block. Yes is trying to reach for 2R. As you can see, there's clearly no FVG aligned with the breaker block here, right? So that's not a unicorn. I understand that there's an FVG here, right? That is not aligned the breaker block. About 4 more minutes, we should get our answer. The high impact news driver should give us the results. Yes, again, showing its strength, right? So for the individuals that understand SMT, right? See it here, higher low versus lower low. You can also see it because NQ has yet to displace through the breaker block. Give it another 2 minutes and we should have our answer here. Go take a quick look at Dixie as well for the news drops. Lows here. If it wants to displace through the low or if that's going to act as a sweep. But we're going to watch NQ and ES for the high impact driver. So let's see what the high impact driver has for us. Looks like there's your 2R for ES. And Q finally getting its displacement. For anybody that took the ES idea, it is time to take profit. Let's see, did anybody play the ES breaker block? Put a 1 in chat if you did, put a 2 in chat if they left without you. Congrats to everyone that did take it. Did not take it because it did not touch the breaker block after the displacement, or if you did not take it because of the news, or if you did not take it because of bias, or whatever the reasoning being. This goes back to the independent thinker conversation that we started the stream off with, right? Nobody is ever going to tell you when to press the buttons. Nobody's going to tell you how to press the buttons. Right? The model is going to stay the same. We're going to always be using breaker blocks that have FVGs aligned with it. Depending how the individual completes the model is where they become independent thinkers. Right? So I could point to this trade because it is a breaker block. It does have an FVG that aligns with it. It does happen at New York Open. Now, the independent thinker is the one that's going to come in here and say, I don't care about news, or I don't care about bias, or vice versa. The independent thinker is going to come in here and say, I need to know the bias. I only wait until after the news. That is going to be contingent on you as an individual, and you should look inward for that answer. If you are the person that needs those confirmations, then use them. If you are the person that is comfortable with creating a pattern, then do that. The model's never going to stay the same. What is going to change is you being an independent thinker. Right? So, for example, I did not take this trade, right? And for a lot of people that know me, why didn't I take that trade? A lot of you have spent a lot of time with me, so you would already know this answer. Why didn't I take that trade? Go ahead, put it in chat. Right, it's NFP week. I don't participate Wednesday to Friday of NFP week. Very good for everybody that's saying that. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether there's a position on a screen or not. I have justifications to my rules and I follow them. I'm more interested in carrying out the process every single day. I'd rather have my actions align with my words. I don't care that this was correct, right? I don't care that this was a breaker block. It did run 2R. What is going to be repeatable is you having justifications to your actions. That is the logic behind your reasoning. It's like a cause and effect relationship. And what I'm trying to say here this morning is that we have the model already. The model is always going to be this. So that's not the thing that we need to make decisions on, right? This is always going to be the model. Low, high, the first low gets swept, right? Stop hunt, then displacement through the breaker block, and the FVG has to align with the breaker block. That is always going to be mechanical. What is not going to be mechanical is you as an independent thinker deciding on, oh, I participate in London, or I participate in New York. Or another question, I participate before news, or I participate after news. Or I don't participate during FOMC, CPI, or non-farm payroll. Or I do participate during these times. What needs to be done is that all of these questions need to be identified so that you understand how to move forward. And I would suggest identifying them before executing, because all of the decisions that you have to make while executing is going to deter you from actually executing. So understanding that answer should be muscle memory, and then your actions should align with those words. Okay, so I could still sit here and point out any position that I see. We're always going to be learning and working. That doesn't mean I have to take the position to learn, to work, right? So for all the individuals this morning that are saying, you know, why are you pointing out this long? You're not looking at bias, because we're not talking about bias this morning. Or all the individuals that are saying, but the news, I'm not participating anyways because of non-farm payroll. So the 10 a.m. news, right? I'll point it out and I'll let you know what's happening. But if you've been working with me, you already know that I don't participate Wednesday to Friday of non-farm payroll week. Beautiful move nonetheless, and this goes to show you that our entry function works, right? Down, up, down, all the way through. FVG aligned with it, right? Whether you entered at the breaker block or if you just entered because you saw the entry function, that's the difference between the independent thinkers. Now that we got to see a live entry function play out, if you guys have any questions or comments, we can now go over them. There's been too many comments as we were waiting for this position to play out, so I'm not going to be able to scroll back up through them. If you want to go over your questions, throw them back in chat now, and we'll start to go over them for a bit. At market open, does stop hunt have to be an hourly swing high? You want all of your positions to have a higher time frame level to work off of, right? So you're referring to the long. Look at this hourly swing low here, and look at how we run below it. See how we run below the hourly swing low, creating a stop hunt, right? So the hourly swing low and the stop hunt are two different things. The hourly swing low is your area of interest. You want to see a stop hunt happen into that hourly point of interest. Then we get the displacement with the breaker block. Why don't you trade Wednesday to Friday of non-farm payroll week? It's just a classic ICT statement in which he states that it's a lower probability price action. Therefore, ever since he stated that, I haven't participated. If it wasn't NFP, would you have taken it before the news? No. So again, if you've been working with me, you know that I don't trade before the news. I trade after the news. Please take a look at crude oil. Bearish market structure. Excuse me, I meant to say bullish market structure. Hourly point of interest with an hourly FVG. But there's no entry function here. I don't know if you have a certain question regarding CL, but it looks bullish. It has a bullish market structure. There's just no entry function. Is it fine to enter as soon as the candle closes above the breaker instead of waiting for a tracement? This is the entire conversation that I've been trying to have this morning. This is where you become an independent thinker, and the way that you get the answer to this is understanding your results. So if you have better results entering as soon as the candle closes above the breaker, that's fine. I've seen many people do it. If you have better results waiting for that candle closure and then entering at the breaker block, then move forward with that. The answer would be to become an independent thinker, obtain the results from defined data, and then move forward with that. Ash, what is your bias for the week? I don't have a bias for the entire week. Anytime bias changes, I provide it. So it's not a weekly outlook. So for example, right, let me give a quick example of this. We had an all-time high sweep here. After that all-time high sweep, we had a bearish change in the state of delivery here. Let me mark all this stuff out. After that bearish change in the state of delivery, we got clear and decisive displacement. Right, so we could put the standard deviations on the leg that took liquidity. If you are familiar with standard deviations, you would know that -2 to -2.5 of standard deviations acts as support or resistance, depending on which way price moves. Right, so going into the week being bearish down to your -2 to -2.5 makes complete sense. Once price gets to the -2.5, seeing that price is being supported by that, being bullish here makes sense. So it's not a weekly outlook, it's being objective to price. So when price is stating something, instead of giving your opinion, it's without influence reacting to price. Objective is being allowing price to give you your answer, not influencing it with your opinion. Right, so you could have had a bearish bias to start the week, then you could have had a bullish bias once your standard deviations was complete. Can you elaborate why you choose not to participate during NFP week? I'm not going to keep repeating myself for the individuals that just joined the stream. This is being recorded. You can go back and watch the stream. I do not participate from Wednesday to Friday of non-farm payroll week. Ash, what about order blocks? Are they not relevant? The ones with FVGs? The breaker block is a failed order block. So in terms of calling it not important, I would highly disagree with that, considering that's what we use as our entry function. A failed order block. Please, can we use daily time frame for bias? Okay, so if you have looked at my tweets before, if you looked at my information before, you would know that being inside a bullish FVG would be an area to be bullish in terms of bias. Bias comes from the daily. Price is currently located inside a daily FVG. Bullish bias. Hi Ash, we swept the low before 9:30 market open. Would that invalidate the move? I disagree with that statement. Right, so this is all one move, right? So if you're thinking about the fluid motion of price, price goes down, turns around, and goes up. That occurs, this entire move right here occurs at the opening time, right? This is 9:30 right here. I don't know why. Let me go back. Is that right? This is 9:30 right here. Right, so this move is being completed right there. Okay, so that stop hunt is being completed right there. So this does happen at New York Open. Stop hunt occurred at New York Open. New York Open. Stop hunt occurred at 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 New York Open. Stop hu Nick with the $20 donation. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you for all of the continued support and the generosity. It is very appreciated. If this were a day you were going to be trading, would you still be looking for a setup now or just walk away? I would just walk away. If you have an idea, complete that idea, whether that is with you or without you, right? So New York opened and you watched me outline a long position. If I engaged with that position, sure, you got your 2R. If you did not engage with that position, you completed your objective, your analysis was correct. I would go back to moving to the sidelines and waiting for the next opportunity. Reason number 6,791 of why I love Ash Trades and how he develops people to stand on their own merit and thoughts. That is the most important thing here. You have to understand that there is no signal caller, right? If you're trying to play follow the leader is the worst idea possible. Trying to mimic exactly what somebody else does, you will always be lagging in terms of time. Right, so if you're asking me why I do something, I could give you that answer, right? If that answer doesn't work properly for you because one, you can't identify it, or two, it doesn't work for your psychology or emotions, then why would you use that information? You have to understand what works best for you, what you're capable of identifying, what your emotional and psychological intelligence can handle, and move forward with that information. Do you see today clearly bullish change in the state of delivery? So change in the state of delivery is a confirmation to an idea. It is not required to obtain a bias. You can obtain a bias without the change in the state of delivery. Once again, another point in which becoming an independent thinker is important. Some people need confirmations and some people do not need confirmations. Whichever one you are is okay with moving forward with. So if you are the individual that does not need confirmations, right? You would come to this daily chart and realize that price is currently located in a daily bullish FVG. That means be bullish. That's it. Go to your entry function, look for a bullish entry function and execute it. Those are the individuals that don't need confirmations. And it is okay to do that. For the individuals that do need confirmations, those would be the individuals that go to the hourly chart, your market structure, to look for a change in the state of delivery. Can you talk about high resistance liquidity versus low resistance liquidity? All right, let's talk about it. We'll do a short opportunity. You want to see high resistance liquidity on your side of the curve. You want to see low resistance liquidity on the other side of the curve. low resistance liquidity is failure swings, right? Price not running below a swing low or not running above a swing high. Price is not grabbing liquidity. That is what a low resistance liquidity run is. A high resistance liquidity run is when price is taking liquidity. So let's take a look. This low does not get swept by this low. Failure swing. This low does not get swept by this low. Failure swing. This low does not get swept by this low. Failure swing. This is low resistance liquidity. You want to see low resistance liquidity on the opposite side of the curve. You want to see high resistance liquidity on your side of the curve. Right? The highs are getting swept here. The highs are getting swept here. This is how you know if you're on sides or not. This is how you know if liquidity is being taken and if you have something to reach for. Right? So if these are all failure swings, then liquidity was never taken below these lows. You understand what I'm saying? So if we're at this point in time here, right? We run above a higher time frame point of interest. After running above that higher time frame point of interest, we get a clear and decisive displacement through the breaker block that leaves an FVG. If we get an entry at our entry function, look at what it has to reach for. There's all of this liquidity that has yet been taken because of all of these failure swings. So to get the 2R here, see, it has something to reach for here. I hope that makes sense. The thing that you want to focus on is low resistance liquidity being on the other side of the curve. That way you have something to reach for. High resistance liquidity being on your side of the curve. I seen that there's a red folder at 12. So would that also mean no trade even after 10 a.m. news, or would it not matter since we don't trade New York lunch anyways? We never trade New York lunch. We also don't trade non-farm payroll. So that doesn't really mean anything to me. How do you know whether to use an order block which created the change in the state of delivery or a breaker plus FAG as an entry? I personally only have one entry function, and that's the unicorn. So I'm not even considering I'm not even considering order blocks. It's just a decision that I had made a long time ago that the only entry function I have is a unicorn. I'm not considering anything else. What is your opinion on inverse FVGs? I don't use them. I don't have an opinion on it. Is it possible for your overall bias to change depending on what happens at the opening time? Yes. Would you consider looking at higher time frame analysis / entry after a move like this, looking at the 1 hour to 5 minute to now possible on the 4 hour to 15 minute? If you ask me, price completed its objective. There was a bullish position. That bullish position went more than 2R. Therefore, the objective has been completed. I'm no longer considering any positions. Do I trade daily with my premium group? Yes. That daily FEG is still bullish, even though it was wicked through, mitigated. Yeah, so if you know the makeup of an FEG, right, you would see the consequent encroachment continues to be respected. So you go like this. Let me just point out the consequent encroachment. Look at how price continues to respect halfway point. Bounced here once, and it's bouncing here again. If we saw candle closures all the way through the bottom half of the FEG, we would know that it's invalidated. Is it valid to take a 5-minute unicorn the next day after the 1-hour unicorn has been established? I want all of my entry function to occur at or after the opening time. I don't use prior information. I'm not using a unicorn from yesterday. I want all of the criteria to the entry function to happen today during my hunting hours. Phenomenal stream this morning. I'm glad that we were able to watch a position. I'm glad that we were able to talk about being independent thinkers. I'm glad that we were able to get through some questions and answers. I highly appreciate everyone being here. I'm very happy to get through another New York Open with you guys. I will be doing this every Wednesday. So if you want to follow along, Wednesday at New York Open, you will know where to find me. If you haven't already, please sub to the channel. Please like the stream. If you need a more direct communication with me, go to the link in the description of this video to get the links to my Discords. Twitter has too much traffic, so it's hard for me to respond there. If you want to join the Discords, the links to those are below, and I have a better time communicating there. Nick, I greatly appreciate the contribution. I hope that I could bring value and return the favor. I am going to wrap up the stream now. For anybody that has any additional questions or comments, let's bring it to the Discord, as that's where I'm going to go next. I hope everybody has a great day, a great week. Thank you again for another amazing stream.